Hello. This is how you predict a grade. And this process will work for any grade, no matter how it's put together, if it's weighted. Okay? So first, you need to go into Skyward and you need to see how your teacher has set up the categories. In chemistry, 45% of your grade is an assessment. Those are like your projects and things like that, and tests. 10% is your final, 40% is homework, and 5% are quizzes. You need to know what percentage each category is worth because they are weighted based on that. So I'm going to go back to my page and I'm going to just jot those down. So after you know the percentages or the weightings of the different sections, now you need to go into Skyward and you need to count up the total points for each section. So for every homework assignment, go in there and find out how many points there were total, or how much you could have gotten, all right? For simplicity's sake, I'm going to just put in 100 because I don't want to have to count all that. Then, assessments, again, you want to go in and for every assessment category, for every assessment, you want to add those total points together. For the final, your final, there's only one of them, one or two, so that's easy to count up. And then your quizzes, all the total possible points. So this row is all the total possible points you could have gotten if you had gotten 100% on everything. Whereas your score is what you actually got out of it. So you have to go back and add up all of those. So let's say I have 97% of my homework done, and I got, I don't know, like an 86 on my assessments, and I got a 90 on my final, and I've got, you know, like, I don't know, a 60 out of my quizzes. Okay? So these are the totals that you need. Alright, so I simplified it and I wrote my scores up here, what I got out of the total for each category. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my assessment, which is 86, that's an 8, there we go. I'm going to divide it by the total, and then I'm going to take that amount and I'm going to multiply it by the percentage. Okay, so this is just like taking your average atomic mass. This is your amount that you got times your percentage, and we're going to find out how it plays into the whole. All right, so times 0. There we go. 45. Close that off. Then I'm going to add 97 out of 100 and multiply that by 0.40. Alright, so after I add all those up, I get 0.895, and then I multiply that by 100 to get my percentage in the class, and that comes out to a beautiful B+. So if those were my scores, that would be my grade. So to sum up, in order to calculate your grade, you take your percent that it's worth in the class. You have to figure that out for every single class. It's different. Multiply it by how much you got divided by the total. Then you'll get a number over here. Add all of those up. That gives you a decimal. Multiply that number by 100. That gives you your percentage. So this works for any class. And if you wanted to say like, will getting, you know, an extra 10 points on an assessment really help me? Plug that in. Pretend you got the extra 10 points, plug that in and see what it does to your grade. Okay? So you start off with what you have in Skyward, and then if you wanted to get another 10 points, you would add another 10 points to this category and to this category. You have to remember that if you add 10 points, it also adds 10 points to the total. Okay? And then you can predict your score. For instance, alright, I wanted to give you an example of how to work this. But then I thought you might want to know the grade breakdown. So then I made this look prettier. So, take your percentage times what you have, add those all up, multiply by 100, you get a percentage. Look at the percentage range, you know your grade. So let's say it's the end of the quarter, and I have a lab that's worth 50 points, homework that's worth 30 points, and a quiz that's worth 5 points coming up in my in the future. And I wanted to know, well, how much do I really need to get on the lab in order to keep my grade, whatever that is. I think we calculated it to be like an 89.5 or something like that before. So I would set up the same thing that I did before. I would take my 86 out of 100, multiply it by 0.45, and I would do the rest of them, and I would set that up. So then after I write this is what I currently have in the class. So now I'm going to put in my lab. So instead of 100, I'm going to put 150, because now the new total is going to be 50. And then I'm going to say, well, let's say, that I get a 40 on the lab, just, for guess and check. Then I'm going to add my homework, which is 30 points. So the new total for the homework becomes 130. And let's say I think that I can get all 30 points because, it is, participation based, so all I have to do is actually turn it in on time. So I am going to put 127 up here. And then finally, my quiz. My quiz is now out of 105. That's the new total. And I do okay on quizzes, so I'm going to say I'm going to get 2 out of 3 just to be safe. So I'm going to say I get 62 points now instead of, okay, never mind. I'm going to say I got 63 because I can't write 2s for some reason. So I'm going to say I got 63 out on my quiz, or 3 on my quiz, and so my new total would be 63. All right. Then I just plug all those numbers back in with the theoretical amount. My new total would be 88.9%. So that means that my grade actually went down because of these scores. And I would like to point out over here, I forgot to add these two together. So I wouldn't put 40 into the calculator. I would put 86 plus 40, which is a 120. Oh, look at that. 126. Okay. Sorry, I could draw the 2 right. I was happy. Okay, so 126 divided by 150. That's what I would put in the calculator. All right, so then if you're like, whoa, I don't want my grade to go down, recalculate. Put some more points in the lab, put some more points over here in the quiz maybe, or the homework or whatever. I guess we gave ourselves all the homework points. But what this is telling me is that I need to do better on the lab than a 40 if I want to keep my grade the way it was. Okay? So you can do this over and over. You can plug and chug. You can put in as many different options as you want. But this is going to help you determine what grade you could get and what grade is possible. So for instance, if you're trying to get, I don't know, from like a C plus all the way to an A, that is not possible because no matter what I do, the points that are available to me, even if I got 100% on anything or on everything, it is not enough to get my total grade up to a 93%, which is the cutoff for an A minus. Okay? So, when you're doing this, you can predict any grade you want in any class you want, and that way you can go in and you can see exactly what you need to get. If you have an A plus in the class and you want to know if you can just get like 2 points on the final, you can go in here and you can try it out and see what you'll get. That is how you predict your grade. Thank you for watching.